Welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday. Welcome, everybody. Quad Bennett, Heat, how's it going? Michael Hassler, welcome. Welcome. Sorry about that, folks. Apparently, Buddy the Cat decided to take another adventure inside the drop ceiling. He passed my defenses. So, I had to do some improvisation, but it should be okay now. There we go. Howdy, welcome. Marjorie Taylor Greene voting out Mike Johnson from Congress. I really do hope that happens. I'm gonna be honest. I really do hope that happens. If it did, that would be hilarious. That would be absolutely hilarious. Another circus. Another circus act by the GOP. That would be pretty funny if she actually goes through with it. I mean, I think she did file the motion, so essentially, I imagine that they're gonna have to vote on it. I don't know if it has to start. It has to go through another procedure. But I suppose we'll find out when they come back from recess. Before we get started, today's going to be today we're going to fly a tight ship. Before we get started, the usual disclaimers. Thank you guys for all your support. If you want to support the channel, follow the stream. Like the stream on YouTube. I see you. subscribe, do all the awesome stuff if you want to support the channel. There are many ways of doing it. You can subscribe to the channel here. You can do biddies, and you can also check out the merch store at !merch. That's also another way you can support the channel while wearing some cool stuff. Join the Discord this Saturday. Yes, that's right, this Saturday. 3 days from now. Actually, three exact days from now. Okay, to the dot. There will be a movie night. So if you want to join that, you can. That's Discord. All right, folks, let's get right into it, yeah? Firefly, welcome. I haven't watched this because this video just came out. This video just came out, so not that this should be surprising news, but among being like an incredibly abusive POS to his wife, to his pregnant ex-wife, it should come to no surprise that Steven Crowder would act in a abusive manner to his employees. It should be to the surprise of nobody, but just in case, I'm not sure what we're about to hear. I'm not sure the length or the severity of the accusations that we're about to hear. But this is the this is the time, the disclaimer about the this guy was a employee, and he's about to I guess spill the beans on what happened with Steven Crowder. Let's check it out. I'm going into this with I haven't seen a single thing. A single second of this video. Thinking Saber Cat, did you see utterly bizarre Tim Pool stuff where he thinks OnlyFans equals hooker and that calling a woman prostitute isn't offensive? I mean, Tim Pool is a 100% bona fide misogynist. Like that's like, that's almost as on brand for Tim Pool as him wearing a beanie. Okay, him being an incredibly misogynistic POS is about as on brand. Is about as on brand for him as him wearing a beanie everywhere. Okay, this should not be. I'm not surprised that he said this. This is the same dude. This is the same dude who said something to the effect of like, men are better at men are better at women. Men are better than women at chess because men are better at logic. Or so I forget the exact quote. That's I'm paraphrasing. Oh, the Tim Pool It Isn't Me video. If you want to send it to me, we can. With some lady of The Sopranos who basically owned him and he can't give it up. Alright, I just cracked open my watermelon flavored sparkling water. Haven't had this one. This one's good.
See that I'm about to be 34 and I have no family.
Oh, that's right.
My dad had 2 kids by the time he was 27.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you know what the problem is though? It's definitely not me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh man. Not you, Temple. It can't be your behavior whatsoever. Ah. All right. Well, let's check this out, okay? Content warning. I don't know what the depths of the allegations that we're about to hear are. So, let's just dive into it. I'll put another one just in case, because I actually genuinely don't know what we're about to get into. All right, let's do it.
I'm currently being legally abused and intimidated into silence by a former employer. This has been going on for a while now, and it simply cannot live in darkness for another day. But I am asking for your help to fight back. I signed this separation agreement, an NDA, containing a strict and very broad non-disparagement clause many years ago. I voluntarily left my job after deciding I could no longer put myself or my growing family through the toxic and abusive work environment I had endured for years.
Yeah, this is not surprising at all. This is not surprising at all. There's a very weird thing where he said that girls can have babies at 13 too, and if you want a real laugh with his videos, Lauren Southern from 2014 reprises as he looked at her on film with such longing it couldn't remember the Antifas were hunting them at the G20 twaddle. Was this Tim Pool? Because this is also not surprising that that this happened.
This place was and is to this day a workplace rife with sexual misconduct, degeneracy,
Yikes.
and aggression. The things I saw, the things done to me, and the things I witnessed my employer do to others were disgusting, shocking, and utterly indefensible. I have the receipts. This all took a serious toll on my personal health. To the point near the end of my tenure, the work environment had become so toxic that I had to be admitted into a heart hospital.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Tim and Laura did a hilarious video where they claimed that they were being followed. It was just off camera, like a Zach Baggins with ghosts. Oh man, Tim Pool. The smartest beanie in the universe. This is wild. Not surprising. It's just it's just sad. It's just sad at this point for this guy in particular.
After many tests, I was ultimately put on anti-anxiety medication. This condition...
Like, imagine working at a place so toxic and so abusive in many ways than one, apparently, as he's describing, that you had to be admitted into like a heart hospital and are now taking anti-anxiety medication. Jesus Christ.
Something new to me. I had no history of it prior to my employment there and have never been treated for it since.
You just heard from Jared Monroe, known as Not Gay Jared on Steven Crowder's YouTube show Louder with Crowder, and he has now set up a GoFundMe to help him cover the cost of legal fees that he accrued due to years and years of legal intimidation from his former employer, Steven Crowder. Now, in a 15-minute long video, Jared alleges that he was coerced into signing a strict NDA and non-compete that he didn't...
Yeah, which also if your NDA says that you can't come forward with like accusations, especially when they're like legitimate accusations, like I don't know how valid the NDA starts being. Um, yeah, this was the guy. This was also the guy who Crowder put his junk in a on his face when he was in a vehicle asleep. Wow, the married couple owners I have and are by far almost the worst ones. I've almost never worked with any small business that owner that wasn't like that. Yikes. So many quote small businesses are run by tyrants like that. Yeah, that's true.
Want to sign once he announced that he was leaving the company. Now he says that he left due to a toxic work environment and sexual misconduct, as well as sexual degeneracy and aggression. Now he quickly learned that leaving wasn't so easy once he announced that he was resigning, because he found himself in a perpetual state of lawfare against Crowder, and he claims that he's not the only ex-Crowder employee who's been subjected to the same type of legal intimidation, and he also alleges that Crowder is doing all of this to his ex-employees so that way they don't spill the tea on his double life and secrets.
Uh-oh. Really? I think much like the Vince McMahon stuff, when this comes out, Crowder will be finished. I hope so. I mean, like, he should have been finished a very long time ago, you know? Given his history, he should have been finished a very long time ago. But, yeah.
That's Jared's words, not mine. We'll get to the video in a moment. Now he makes it very clear that he has receipts to prove all of this, hence why Crowder is trying so hard to silence him. Now, I do believe Jared because he's not the first ex-employee of Crowder's to speak out about the uncomfortable position that Crowder often put them in. For example, Owen Benjamin alleges that Crowder would make his employees dress up under the guise of making fun of transgender people and explains, quote, "How was dressing like degenerate fruitcakes owning the left? I agreed, so I'm no victim, but I felt very uncomfortable saying no, and I didn't want to let down the team. Over time, I realized more and more that we weren't owning anyone, and I just kept being asked to wear really degrading and sexualizing outfits."
That sounds like that sounds like something out of like a cult. There's stuff about how Crowder is a crossdresser. As a crossdresser myself, he needs to lose the beard. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if like that's the type of stuff that he was into, or that's the type of stuff that he's into, because he seems to be very comfortable. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just the hypocrisy, right?
Now,
it's okay. Like if that's what Crowder is into, it's okay. Just own it. You know what I mean? Breaking news, Joe Lieberman has died. No way, really? Yep. Kamikaze, welcome.
This has been Crowder's MO for a while. I mean, he'll find any excuse to dress in drag under the pretense of doing comedy or owning the libs or making fun of LGBTQ plus people, especially trans people, when it's painfully obvious that he just wants to dress in women's clothing because he feels more comfortable wearing women's clothing.
Yeah, which is like, dude, just own it, man. Just own it. And instead, you like decide to like be an incredibly hateful bigot, instead of just like being comfortable with yourself. Doing the trap stuff, looking like Bluto's kind of like being a leather daddy only in plaid.
And of course, there's nothing inherently wrong with him doing that aside from the transphobia that he's espousing. But his employees very clearly didn't feel as comfortable as he did in drag, as evidenced by what they've said after leaving the company. And with respect to Jared, the Surf shared screenshots from a skit that he did with Crowder, where Crowder made them both touch each other and even made out while both of them were in drag, all under the pretense of making fun of trans people. And not to mention, there's also this video.
Really?
Give me that milk. Oh, give me that milk. Won't you cut?
Now, Steven Crowder chose to post that video to his public Twitter account on his own volition. I'm not joking about this. Now, I couldn't find the original, so he might have deleted the tweet, but that is a video of him with his own employee. And it's funny how all of his comedy skits involve him and his employees dressing in a sexual manner, right? I mean, it's a bit of a tell, is it not?
I'm humbly asking every pro-Trump patriot watching this video to please chip in just $5 to my father's campaign.
Please, please, my dad is hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. Please. My father is about to be on the hook for hundreds of millions of dollars, okay? Fire that guy.
Now, if that's the kind of stuff that Steven Crowder was sharing publicly, we don't even have to imagine how much worse it probably was behind the scenes. And I say we don't have to imagine that because we know how bad it was. In fact, in an expose published in the New York Intelligencer, journalist Matt Steeb reported that Steven Crowder allegedly sexually harassed his own male employees, writing, "In March of 2018, Crowder and his crew were driving in a van when a former producer he liked to call Not Gay Jared fell asleep in the back row."
Oh, yep, there it is. You're right, thinking Sabercat. You're right. My billionaire daddy who won't hug me. He needs other people's money. True.
Steven was in front and he was joking about what he was going to do, a witness said. He climbed over and dropped his junk on top of Jared's shoulder. The same ex-staffer recalled that Crowder had exposed himself to Jared in 2017 while they were filming a parody version of Ghost. And on a flight in 2018, a different employee claims that they saw Crowder put his testicles on his childhood friend and assistant, John Goodman. Another employee remembered that Crowder had showed his genitals to Dave Landau, a comedian and former co-host who called Crowder a bully last week. Now, they say last week, but this is an article from last year. Now, they add Landau claimed that Crowder installed a Dave Don't Talk button on the show to get him to be quiet on air. Quote, "At first, I took it as him trying to be friendly or one of the guys," said an ex-staffer. "Now I see it was a power play." Crowder allegedly sent production assistants to do his laundry and could be an unreasonable micromanager who would make wild requests after hours to set people up for failure. Ex-staffers claim that he would regularly berate his team and threaten to fire people on the company's Discord channel. He even went out.
Jesus Christ. Through the... Wow. Making like people do laundry? Maybe Crowder's heart problems are too many poppers. Yeah, too much sack tap, exactly. Which apparently was, according to what we know, like a requirement to play.
After his own father, Darren Crowder, per one source, who claimed Crowder would yell at his dad in front of employees when Darren was working as his son's booker. So this man allegedly abused his employees and created a hostile work environment, and now he's trying to silence them in order to keep a lid on the abuse that we don't yet know about. But Steven Crowder isn't just waging lawfare against his former employees, because in response to Jared's video, Candace Owens actually spoke out and accused him of doing the same thing to his wife, writing, "Wait till they find out what he's been doing to his wife. I never edited my opinion on Steven Crowder because I knew that everything would eventually be revealed. This really is going to be a year of revelations." Now, even though Candace Owens isn't necessarily the most reliable source, it's very plausible that she's correct here and that he is indeed subjecting his wife to the...
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not... We've seen video of how he, talked, of how he talked to his wife when she was pregnant. So it's not really out of pocket to imagine that this dude was far more abusive to his wife than we previously know. Right. It's funny how his Rumble channel is fake its numbers in one strike and Crowder's perma-banned from YouTube. My neighbor is smoking strong weed and it's coming into my apartment. Go ask them for some. Crowder is Crowder banned from YouTube? No, he's not, right? He's like demonetized. No, he still has a YouTube channel. I just don't think it's monetized at the moment. Most people would find that a positive. For me, it's annoying because it gives me a headache and irritates my lungs. Oh. In that case, not cool. That sucks, Firefly. Oh, I love Jose. This is a great channel. This is a great channel. We'll see if we can squeeze that in after this one.
The same lawfare as his former employees because, as Mediaite explains, Monroe isn't the only one who has been subjected to legal action from Crowder. In October, his company sued his estranged wife, Hillary Crowder, for torturous interference after her family accused him of mentally and emotionally abusive behavior in a statement to the journalist Yashar Ali. And that emotionally abusive behavior that they were talking about was exposed in Ring camera footage where he was vocally abusing his very pregnant wife. So he is using his wealth to crush anyone who dares to defy him, and with respect to Jared, it's evident that Crowder was maliciously just trying to destroy his life, as evidenced by the following details shared by Jared.
All I simply wanted to do was peacefully leave.
My kid decided we needed to leave the library right now, so I had to chat real quick. No problem.
It was clear by my employer, though, that this was not only unacceptable, but that I needed to be punished for doing so. Being bullied on each of these terms and many more, fighting for my basic freedoms to leave and provide for my family immediately sent me into legal debt. I did not want to sign anything, mind you. But the negotiations with my former employer left no question that without a signed NDA, my guaranteed silence, I would undoubtedly be harassed well into the future. The primary reason I signed the NDA was for a small carve-out in the non-compete clause, which allowed me to freely seek employment using some of my skill sets at another specific company. At least I could feed my family. That provision, however, was a lie. And upon starting my new job at the new said company, I was giving another one of these, a cease and desist, and was promptly unlawfully terminated from that position.
Jesus.
I added thousands more to my legal debt trying to fight back. My wife was very pregnant by this time, and without a financial safety net for groceries and a baby crib, much less a legal fund to file a countersuit, I simply had to let it go, trusting God had a plan.
Crowder actually got him fired from his new job, even though he had a baby on the way. He was just trying to move on, take care of his family, sought other employment, and Crowder intervened for no good reason to get him fired. Now, Jared signed a non-compete, but what trade secrets specifically is Jared going to share with other companies, right? I don't know what the job was, but assuming he was working in media or at a media company, like what is he going to expose? How to do segments where you dress in drag and be overly racist? Like, what exactly is the purpose of this non-compete? And it's all about control. That's what it feels like. And Jared goes on to explain that Crowder is able to legally intimidate employees into silence because he has virtually unlimited funds to do so. And even if the terms of these NDAs don't hold up in the court of law, which I don't know, but even if they don't, simply challenging them in and of itself is very costly for people like Jared who don't have the power and wealth that Steven Crowder has. But since Jared did challenge them and refused to comply with any of Crowder's legal threats, well, his life has basically been ruined. And this was all because he wanted to just leave a job because his boss was terrible, toxic, abusive. He wanted to leave, but Crowder wouldn't let him. And to make matters even worse, Crowder made Jared turn over his own personal equipment and even made him turn over his personal Twitter account that he had before he started working for Crowder because he claimed that that was the intellectual property of the company.
What? A private Twitter account before being hired at a company constitutes intellectual property of said company? That is wild. That is wild. Next on louder with Chowder sipping with a spoon. Actually, they did a really good video on the fake outrage of the critical drinker as part of the industrial toxic fandom network, with Heels versus Babyface being the most hilarious of these people who literally sell 4chan lies as what's really happening at woke firms. Yeah, we're also gonna need your baby teeth when you have a minute. Exactly.
So there is so much here, so much that is really damaging for Crowder, and it's evident why he didn't want his employees to speak out, because this man was a tyrant. And it just kind of goes to show you how emboldened he felt because he has millions of dollars and a team of lawyers on his side. But I've got one more video of Jared.
While my supposed non-compete expired after 2 years, unfortunately, the most egregious part of my NDA, the part that silences my free speech, has no expiration. While NDAs are classically used to protect trade secrets, unfortunately, in the entertainment industry, they are too often used to protect disgusting, unlawful activity and many forms of abuse. We see examples of this all the time.
How does an NDA not have a time limit? Just the most absurd parameters that you have to sign because you have to work and you have to, now you're here, so yeah.
Powerful people and their attorneys routinely use NDAs to silence victims in order to remain powerful people. Let me be clear, what I'm afraid of is legal harassment in perpetuity, not the truth. Only one side of this ordeal is spending a fortune to hide truth and punish anyone who dares speak up for themselves or other victims. I'm asking for donations for 2 reasons. Number one, obviously to help with the financial burden I've already accrued with this legal matter right here. That's taking care of. That matter is priority number one as I'm going further and further into debt with each passing day. The second reason I'm asking for financial assistance is to proactively address my unconstitutional anti-free speech NDA, which is the basis for all of their claims against me. The simplest resolution here would be for my ex-employer to release me from the NDA. Give me and my fellow ex-employees the same free.
So, like, this isn't like freedom of speech in the sense that, like, the First Amendment. However, if an NDA is not legally binding, then if you know that an NDA is not going to hold up in court, there's nothing that Crowder can do, right? Just threaten with more legal action, I guess. I signed a bunch of BS today to get my kid's teeth cleaned. I don't know what I signed, but her appointment is on the books now. That's good.
Free speech they publicly champion for every other American. But I can almost guarantee you that will not happen. I've already witnessed them spend unfathomable amounts of money in other cases to protect their double life and secrets.
I mean, if that NDA is gone and Jared feels free to speak, you know, there's going to be some pretty damaging stuff to Crowder's credibility there. I mean, Jared literally said that Crowder has already spent unfathomable amounts of money in his case and in other cases to protect his double life and secrets. So why would he let up now? And in response to Jared's video, the CEO of Crowder's company, Gerald Morgan, has basically said, yeah, we're not going to let up anytime soon. Quote, "We will not be intimidated by media smear tactics. Mr. Monroe entered into an agreement with Louder with Crowder that he knowingly violated. After discovering repeated violations, Louder with Crowder was forced to take legal action. The trial court has denied Mr. Monroe's effort to avoid the legal proceedings which are moving forward pursuant to the court's order." In other words, they're not denying the fact that they've been putting Jared through hell all this time. In fact, they're defending it. Now, keep in mind that Jared hasn't been with the company for more than 5 years at this point, and the fact that he is still forced to go through all of this tells you that Steven Crowder is willing to go to great lengths to protect the public from learning about whatever Jared knows. And it shows you also how tyrannical Steven Crowder is. But I mean, even without this information, to be clear, from his wife and his employees, I think it was already abundantly clear that Crowder was a terrible human being based on despicable, dehumanizing rhetoric that he used against marginalized people on his...
Yeah, like someone who's willing to like do a daily like hate show for minorities and marginalized people, that's kind of like enough to kind of take a peek at what a person is like. But this one really puts it out into the full scope of things, right? I think you're right. If it's unenforceable, it's useless or illegal. Right, that's exactly what I think, right? It's if it's unenforceable, meaning like if any judge sees like it's a ridiculously absurd NDA, they're just gonna throw it out. I don't know. I would just spill the beans anyways. I think it's bad, but really I think if you're looking for employment, you should at least Google who they are. Yeah, who knows? Because like he did say at the beginning like that he's okay, or at the time, I don't know if he's changed. But at the time, he was pretty on board with the idea of making fun of minorities and making fun of marginalized people. He just was uncomfortable with Crowder.
His own show. I mean, before we learned about the alleged harassment from his own employees, we saw him publicly harass queer creators like Carlos Maza for years. So I'm not surprised that someone who exclusively punches down in public is also punching down in private as well. None of us should be. So in conclusion, when somebody tells you who they are, you should believe them.
True. And the Louder with Crowder channel has made a response video. I don't have time to check out the 34-minute video. I might like skim it on my other account. But they did respond to it. That's like the unpaid Trump lawyer. It's something that you should take in mind on who and what they're like. Yeah. All right, let's see if we can squeeze this in real quick.
It has not been a good year for Steven Crowder. 2023 has not been a good year for
How
Steven
long was
Crowder.
this ago?
Since signing a deal with Rumble back in March of 2023, his Rumble views had fallen considerably, dropping from averaging over 2 million views per video to less than 1 million. Crowder's reputation has taken a beating online. In the beginning of the year, there was a failed contract negotiation with the Daily Wire that went public, and it was revealed that he had made secret recordings of his conversation with Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring. Crowder was refusing a contract worth $50 million to produce his show for 4 years.
This is the minimum number that we thought would get the conversation started.
I remember this. Give me 1 second. How come I can't switch? Well, that's strange. Oh, there we go. Anyways.
With Steven. $50 million for the initial term.
All of that happened before the Rumble deal, though, so it's less likely that it had an impact on his viewership than what came next. In the midst of that whole contract controversy, it was revealed that Steven Crowder was going through a messy divorce, and had been since 2021. And soon after, a video of him being verbally abusive to his wife surfaced online.
He's sick.
Watch it.
He's sick.
Watch it. Watch it.
Yeah, like that right there is like enough for me to be like, all right, I've seen all that I need to see. I've seen all that I need to see to understand what type of garbage human being we're dealing with, right? Like, first of all, she's saying that like your abuse is like I've had it enough with your abuse, and his response isn't to acknowledge it; it's to say like, watch it. What? Baltimore bridge net appears to be all 4 national bridge workers. Yes, that's right. I think all, if not almost all of them, were from Central America.
In addition to that footage, many former staffers at Crowder's show went public with stories of behind-the-scenes tirades coming from Crowder, and a tendency he had to expose his genitals to his co-workers. Even taking all those controversies to account, though, it seems a bit strange that Crowder's views would drop so dramatically. I thought it might help to take a wider look at his numbers to get a better sense of his channel's health. So that's what I did. I looked at the views for Crowder's channels on YouTube and Rumble and counted them up over the last year. In this graph here, you can see Crowder's YouTube views are in red, while his Rumble views are in green. The big change you'll notice is that Crowder goes from getting most of his views from YouTube to Rumble as soon as he signs a deal with them. It's reasonable to assume most of his audience migrated over to that platform as he was constantly pushing Rumble in his videos and on social media. Still, that jump is really big. Crowder hadn't cracked 2 million views in a while on YouTube, and suddenly he's soaring past that on Rumble, though it's possible as explained by Rumble promoting his content. It is a bit weird though, considering Steven Crowder had taken a lot of time off, and that's usually really dangerous for a channel's health. One other strange difference between his YouTube channel is that his engagement is significantly lower on Rumble. Looking at a sample of roughly 6 months, the comparison of views to comments and likes or dislikes is wildly different. On YouTube, roughly 1.2% of views translate to comments. That is, a viewer has a 1.2% chance of leaving a comment every time they watch one of his videos. On Rumble, that number is significantly less at 0.2%. There's also a big disparity between likes and dislikes. There's a 7% chance of a viewer on YouTube rating a video versus a 1.2% chance on Rumble. These numbers aren't just true for Crowder, though. Using a sample of 2 weeks for Ben Shapiro and Tim Pool's channels, I found they had similar issues. It seems that users on Rumble are just not interested in leaving comments or liking.
Or maybe they're just fake views, which explains the little engagement. They found them? No, I don't think they found the bodies. I think that they, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last thing I saw, I think that the last thing I saw was that they're just presumed. They're just presumed dead because it's been it's been like 24 hours. So if they haven't found them yet at this point, it's very, they're from what I understand, the last thing that I read is that they are presumed dead. That's what I read. Oh, come on, come back. Okay, there we are.
Or disliking videos. What makes it even stranger is that if Crowder's audience is migrating from YouTube to Rumble, one wonders why this audience suddenly decided they no longer have any interest in leaving comments or rating videos. Maybe people just don't want to make Rumble accounts, and almost everyone has a Google account. All of this is just generally suspicious, and I probably wouldn't even be including it in this video if not for something else I found. Steven Crowder typically releases 4 shows a week, scheduled for 10 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Time. He's usually late to start, sometimes taking 10 minutes or so to begin the stream. This will be an important detail later on. While researching this video, I decided randomly to watch Steven Crowder's live stream of the GOP primary debate. So when I tuned in early to make sure I caught the beginning, I noticed something a bit strange. Before the stream starts, there's this little video that lasts a couple of seconds that plays on a loop. It lets you know that the stream will be starting soon. You can see people in the chat trying to get racial slurs past the filter and a few early ratings going in. This is pretty much how YouTube streams work as well, minus the little video. When I tuned into this primary debate stream though, what caught me off guard is that in the description box, you'll notice that there is a view count for this stream. And in this footage here I captured, you'll see it currently was sitting at 138,000. I refreshed the page just to double check that the stream hadn't actually started, and you can see there that it's saying that the viewers are still waiting for it to start, and obviously a refresh. And that 138,000 view figure just stayed there, all with 27,000 people waiting for the stream to start. So this raises an important question: where did these views come from? And why are they being counted under this video before the stream even begins? Now, for those who don't know, Rumble works a lot like YouTube in that the views you see under a video aren't updated in real time. It usually takes a few minutes to see each increase. And when you look at that view count, it's really more of a snapshot in time from when there were a certain number of people who have viewed a video. The number is almost always higher when you look at it in the back end. It can be off by thousands or tens of thousands sometimes, particularly for a new video. So we shouldn't understand, for instance, this debate stream as getting 138,000 views early. We should understand it as getting 138,000 views early at least, because there were several minutes after this stat was provided that views were likely still being counted and added to the total. I was curious to see if this was a pattern, so I checked out Steven Crowder's streams throughout the week, and this finding repeated itself every time. Sometimes it was just a few thousand views, other times it was tens of thousands. It's impossible to say how many views are being added here because the numbers would appear about 15 minutes before a stream would begin in some cases, and they often wouldn't get updated until 10 to 15 minutes after the stream started. I decided to run this same test on a stream for Dan Bongino where, like Crowder, he had about 20,000 views counted before his stream began. And again, this one is also probably being undercounted. Whatever is going on in the back end, I'm pretty confident in saying that Crowder's live stream view counts and possibly other streamers on Rumble are being boosted by counting views of people waiting for the stream to start. That was my hypothesis anyway, so I decided to test it out and maybe get a better idea of how overcounted these views really are. I created an account on Rumble, and after getting some followers so I would be allowed to stream, I ran my test. When setting up a stream, Rumble gives you the option of adding your own custom video so your audience has something short to watch while waiting for the stream to start. I didn't have a ton of short videos on hand, so I just grabbed this 8-second one.
It tastes of macam.
I started the stream and left it unlisted and opened a second browser to watch it, so there was only ever one viewer viewing the stream. The preview video autoplayed as soon as I opened the page and looped for the whole hour. While watching, I refreshed a few times, waiting for that view stat to pop up, and eventually it did, but the only number I saw was 13 views. A strange number to get with only one viewer watching a clip that replayed itself for about roughly 450 times over the course of an hour. Of course, like I said earlier, this early stat should be considered a moment in time and not something that reflects a real-time count of views. After the hour was up, I started the stream and immediately ended it. If any other views were counted for the stream after it actually began, it was probably just one view for that stream starting up. I waited for the view count to update in the back end, giving it as much time as possible to make sure all the views were counted for, and the final view count for this video was not 13 views, but 226 views, all from one person who tuned in an hour before the stream began, significantly higher than that first set of 13 views. This works out to approximately 50% of the preview video loops being counted as views. I repeated that test with a stream that only ran for 30 minutes, and that one ended up with 114 views, which is roughly half, so the finding seems pretty consistent. I also tried running a stream without the preview video. Turns out one gets automatically generated and autoplays for any viewers, so it looks like any stream that's scheduled for the future is going to have one of these videos. A little after scheduling this particular test though, I noticed that automatically generated video was playing, so I paused it and let the stream run for 30 minutes without any video loops, aside from the first few that might have snuck through before I paused the video. The final view count for this stream was 5. I wanted to run another test, and for this one, I would let the default video, which lasts about 15 seconds, play for 30 minutes instead of my 8-second clip. The result for this one was 120 views, which was kind of strange because that's more views than the 8-second clip. If we do some math here, we see that the 15-second video could be played 120 times within 30 minutes. And with that bit of information, everything started coming together.
It counts like every time the video replays, it counts as a view. Oh my god. Whew. Yeah, that's wow. Really the right wing alt media is all money losing with Getter literally charging followers to post memes. Truth Social has lost 84%, is going public as a desperate attempt to stay afloat. On Threads it's 20 because most magazines last a week, with the majority ever doing 3 posts like Tim Pool or being flagged off the platform. Makes sense. It's fun to watch the fire. Yeah. Yeah, it's all starting to make sense.
In my mind. The discrepancy between using an 8-second video and a 15-second one is only a few views, which suggests to me that what's being counted here is not the number of loops, but how long someone is watching. But how long someone is watching is not entirely disconnected from the fact that these videos are looping. On YouTube, you need to watch a video for 30 seconds for it to count as a view. On Rumble, it appears to be 15 seconds. But on YouTube, at least, once you start watching a video after 30 seconds, no matter how long that video is, it only gets counted as one view unless you happen to close the video and start watching it again at a later time. Since Rumble is looping the video in these pre-stream sections though, every time the loop repeats, it resets whether or not a view is going to be counted for this video. So every 15 seconds, a video flips over and gets counted as a new view. In fact, that would explain why using an 8-second video would mean the view count is slightly lower, because the counter is being reset every 16 seconds instead of 15. In other words, it's getting reset every other loop. But I wanted to run one more test just to be certain. This time I used a preview video that was 1 minute in length. So every time it ran, it would meet that 15-second threshold, but then would go on for another 45 seconds before looping. And I assumed that's when another play would be counted. If my theory held true, that would mean that this video would get roughly 30 views if I let it run for 30 minutes. So that's how long I let it run for. The final total for this experiment? 32 views.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say that Rumble counts a view every 15 seconds and that the counter gets reset every time a loop completes. And isn't it just a darn coincidence that the default length of time for a generated video on Rumble to run is exactly 15 seconds? Almost like they plan to inflate their view numbers using these little preview videos. I am making a few assumptions here. For example, that Rumble treats all its channels equally. And when you consider that the average viewer isn't likely to turn up 1 hour or 30 minutes before a stream start, although some certainly do, so it's probably not fair to assume that every early viewer is adding 100 views to each video. Although you should also consider that Steven Crowder usually starts his streams late, so I'm sure he's getting a healthy injection of views into all of his videos. One big caveat I'd like to mention is that my tests probably weren't representative in how some people tune into live streams. When I was running these tests, I would open a browser window and just let it sit there. So I ran a few tests where I simulated more realistic behavior. Instead of just letting the stream sit there, letting the video loop nonstop, I tried opening a new tab, minimizing the window, and just doing stuff to generally not look at the stream. Something a person might do if a stream hasn't actually started yet. Even while doing that, I was still getting plenty of views. These loops are still running even when you have a window minimized. Here are a few examples of tests where I did my best to ignore the window where the stream was running, and I was still getting views when really I should have been getting 0. My favorite is this one right here where I got 9 views. I got this by pasting the stream URL into a fresh new tab, pressing enter, and then immediately going into a new tab and then minimizing the whole window. And when it came time for the stream to actually start, I closed the whole window, waited 15 seconds, and then started the stream. At no point was I looking at this stream or even the preview video, but I still somehow ended up with 9 views. It's impossible to tell how many viewers are doing what I was doing in these tests and completely ignoring the window or stream that they have the
Yeah, it's completely useless. It's completely useless.
little preview video open in. But even if they're doing that, they're still contributing to views. And when you consider that there are viewers there who do just leave it open and mess around in the chat, or maybe go somewhere to get a meal, or maybe they have it open in another monitor, they're contributing even more. And if you doubt that that's happening, the early stats that drop before the streams begin verify that to some degree, some of the viewers are doing this. When Steven Crowder has more than 4,000 people waiting for a stream, some percentage of them are waiting with that tab open in front of them, contributing dozens of views to that counter. One can only guess at how many people are tuning in either on time or early and letting that preview video loop in the background while they wait for the stream to start. But regardless, I think this is strong evidence that Crowder's view numbers, likely along with other people streaming on Rumble, are being inflated. With that in mind, Crowder's Rumble views make a little more sense. It's not that he's massively more popular there, but rather a bunch of extra views are padding his numbers overall. It would also explain, at least in part, why engagement is lower than on YouTube. There were other things that made me scratch my head a little while I was watching, but none of it that I could really carefully say was evidence of fraud the way I'm pretty sure this early view count is. Also, just as a little extra, I was curious to see how Rumble was doing as a platform financially. Their latest earnings report just came out in August, covering its second quarter of 2023, and it doesn't really paint the rosiest of pictures. While revenue is roughly 5.5 times higher from where it was last year, expenses have gone up by 6.5 times as much. They lost nearly $29.4 million in the last quarter, and they've lost $58.1 million in the last 6 months. At some point, they probably need to figure out how to turn a profit, but right now they're still very much in the red. It does make one wonder how much longer this platform can keep losing money before investors lose faith. Originally, this was going to be part of a much longer video, but this section in particular really stood out on its own and didn't fit in with the bigger piece, so that's why it's being presented in a video that's much shorter than the usual stuff you see on my channel. That larger video will be about the early days of Steven Crowder's career, including the time he got punched in the face by a union worker, and will be on my channel sometime next week.
Gotcha. Except as an ego stroke, maybe. Yeah, that's it, because those views aren't quote-unquote real. So, yeah, surprise, surprise, Steven Crowder's not just a fraud, but an abusive POS too.
The motion to vacate this morning. I entered.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna go a little bit more into this motion to vacate that Marjorie Taylor Greene has filed.
The motion to vacate this morning after Mike Johnson brought part 2 of an omnibus to the bill to the House floor this morning and forced all of us to vote on a bill that would fund abortion up until full term. Speaker Johnson totally gave up every ounce.
That would fund abortion up until term. What? So, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there supposed to be no federal funding? I'm pretty sure that's how they wrote it. Anyways, yeah. Imagine line number 57, abortion up until term. Got it. Yeah, nobody asked for that.
Ounce of authority he had as House Speaker to use this funding of the government to secure the border for the American people, and it is way past time. He also violated the 72-hour rule. He forced all of us to vote on a bill without amendments. We had no choice. We couldn't introduce amendments. We couldn't fight for the values of our districts, and we had to vote on a bill in one day that had 1,012 pages.
Yeah, the Hyde Amendment. Okay. Yeah, see, I kind of vaguely remember that they specifically wrote it like that. So I don't know what the heck she's talking about.
But we cannot move forward having a Republican Speaker of the House that is doing the bidding of Democrats, that is allowing Chuck Schumer to drive our legislation.
Don't you worry that you're basically pushing him or any new speaker into the arms of Democrats? Because, like, at a certain point...
He's already in the arms of Democrats, and it's proof in the vote count today. And I do not...
Yeah, known Democrat, Mike Johnson.
not wish to inflict pain on our conference and to throw the House in chaos. But this is basically a warning, and it's time for us to go through the process, take our time, and find a new Speaker of the House that will stand with Republicans and our Republican majority instead of standing with the Democrats.
So, like, is she not aware that that Republicans currently hold an incredibly razor-thin majority? So there's no scenario to make sure that you comfortably get legislation passed. There's no the scenario where you're not at some point going to have to get Democratic votes, right? This actually reminds me of Boner, who was forced out by the Tea Party loonies for not being extreme enough. Yeah, but this is it's so much worse, because like not only did they just vacate Speaker McCarthy, but like not even, I mean, how long has it been since they vacated McCarthy? Less than half a year, right? Like it wasn't that long ago, or close to maybe 6 months. I can't remember when he was ousted. It couldn't have been that long ago. And now they might actually oust Mike Johnson, who had beautiful blonde hair and a smoky drawl.
Well, you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Marjorie Taylor Greene has officially filed a motion to vacate Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House, even though Republicans now hold just a one-vote majority, meaning that they are this close to losing that majority. And believe it or not, this move right here could end up costing them that majority, and it could actually lead to Hakeem Jeffries becoming Speaker of the House. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is pushing ahead with this plan regardless, while ironically claiming that Johnson has to go because he's the one who's helping Democrats, as she might give them the majority, which is very interesting. Now, the reason why she's mad is because he agreed to a spending package with Democrats to avoid a government shutdown.
I'm wondering if she wants the position for herself. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. Like, she is not a very rational person. So there's no logical path being taken here. So I don't know what the thought process here, what the strategy is here, other than just chaos. Because she's big mad that he voted, or he forced a vote on a bill that had to get Democratic support. That's it. Like that's basically all we have. Like, oh, big mad because he worked with the Democrats. And that's it. Yeah, just lashing out, exactly. The vacation will be weekly soon and still get nothing done. Yeah, from your ears to God's mouth, okay? Or from your mouth to God's ears. Because we don't need Republicans getting stuff done. We need exactly that. We need Republicans imploding and tripping over themselves. That is literally the saving grace of this whole thing.
Shut down, and the response from Republicans to this threat.
Because like when the opposition party, quotation marks, are nowhere to be found. The next best thing is to hope that these people are so incompetent that they're tripping over each other, which thankfully seems to be the case. Get the idea that MTG is banned from every club, swimming pool, and cinema in her state as she shouts at her self-importance.
Of a motion to vacate, which she filed it officially, but there's still more work to be done for it to be voted on. Has basically collectively been for her.
Okay, cool. Thanks. I'm actually glad that Mike Figueroa answered that question, because I wasn't 100% sure if they're like now forced to vote for this motion to vacate because it only takes one person to do this. I don't know. How funny would it be if a Democratic member of the House filed the motion to vacate and forced the House to elect a new speaker? Although probably that wouldn't work, would it? That'll just rally the Republicans together. So yeah, no, I can't be. Never mind, ignore that. Scratch that from the record. So there are extra steps that she needs to do. Okay, I was curious about that. Yeah, Joe Lieberman just died. Yeah, Michael, while you stepped out, Michael Hasser pointed that out.
To not do this. Like they're begging her desperately.
No, he just posted it when you left.
Trying to get her to not do this because this is something that will cost them the majority, obviously. Like it seems like an act of self-sabotage almost, but yet she wants to do it. Now, just to show you how little support she has for this move, even Matt Gaetz, responsible for ousting Kevin McCarthy, isn't on board this time, telling journalist Olivia Beavers he's not going to support a motion to vacate. And it's because he knows that this could literally facilitate the end of the GOP's majority. So Republicans are looking at Marjorie and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? Why would you do this? This is a gift to Democrats. But
Six Flags Over Georgia is open daily for spring break. March
I'm not
30th
going to
April 7th.
Six Flags.
For a limited time, get a free upgrade.
Stop it.
But just to show you how unreasonable she's being, she attacked Mike Johnson for saying nice things about a Republican who's retiring from Congress. I mean, I don't know what she expects him to say, but nonetheless, listen to what she says.
Speaker Johnson has also failed our majority because he is allowing Mike Gallagher to leave Congress after the deadline date, where his district cannot hold a special election and elect a new representative for the rest of this entire Congress. Mike Gallagher betrayed all of us, and Speaker Johnson, as the one who's responsible for our majority, praised Mike Gallagher on Friday after he announced his departure, saying that he's great and praising him and thanking him for his service in Congress. Speaker Johnson should be forcing Mike Gallagher to leave early so that his district can hold a special election, and any strong Republican Speaker of the House would expel a member for leaving our razor-thin majority in such...
What? Jesus Christ.
A delicate state.
Now, to be fair to her, it is really shitty of him to retire after the deadline for a special election. But counterpoint, it's also very hilarious because this actually really does fuck over the GOP. And anything that hinders their ability to harm people is, I think, good and also funny because the outcome here is just undeniably hilarious, unintentionally so. But what I love even more is this idea that Johnson would expel a Republican who is already retiring. I understand the logic behind this recommendation that she's making, but of course, Johnson isn't even going to entertain the idea because why would he? It'd make them look even more unhinged and unreasonable than they already are. But regardless, her crusade against Mike Johnson is not sitting well with other Republicans, and as a result, the claws are out for her. Now, I think that what they're doing is trying to dissuade her from making this motion to vacate privileged, which means that they'd have 2 days to begin the process to vacate Johnson as Speaker. And this probably wouldn't happen until a couple of weeks when they're back from their Easter break. But She filed the motion to vacate, and what she has to do now is make it privileged. They're trying to scream at her from the rooftops, "Don't you fucking dare, please." But they have to walk a fine line because they know that if they're a little bit too aggressive, they could push her over the edge and piss her off. But there are some Republicans who are being pretty aggressive. So here's some tea from a Fox News reporter about what the chair of the Freedom Caucus had to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene and specifically this motion to vacate.
Bob Good, again, the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, it sounds like no one was really aware that this was going to happen this morning. He told our cameras right as it was happening that he said, "I don't know anybody who cares about what Marjorie Taylor Greene says." That's from Bob Good.
God damn. Look, this isn't necessarily surprising since she was kicked out of the Freedom Caucus last July, but still, that is a pretty harsh thing to say about one of his own GOP colleagues. But I mean, it is undeniably based. I'll give you that.
Barring a health issue for themselves or a loved one, I think it's weird to resign before the end of a 2-year House term. Maybe there's something going on that we don't know about. That's what Speaker's job is. This clown has no idea what the job is. Yep. Welcome, Echo Resta Dragon. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Now, other Republicans who also don't like Mike Johnson's willingness to compromise with Democrats tried to more gently explain to her how this is basically the worst idea ever and it's just a huge gift to Democrats. There are a couple that I'm not going to play for you, but one was Clay Higgins, who isn't necessarily in that camp. Like, he actually does vehemently support Mike Johnson, but he doesn't hate Marjorie Greene, and he views her as a friend. And he posted this video to Twitter to kind of reach out to her and say, "Hey, bestie, for the love of God, please don't do this."
I consider Marjorie Taylor Greene to be my friend. She's still my friend, but she just made a big mistake. You know, trying to vacate Mike Johnson's, I totally oppose that. Listen, Mike is a very good man. He begins every day from the right place. He's deeply principled. He's like a brother to me. And to think that one of our Republican colleagues would call for his ouster right now, it's abhorrent to me.
How much do you bet that these idiots think having matters is a sign of weakness? Probably. Welcome to Simulacra. Welcome, welcome.
And I expect my colleagues to unanimously oppose this big mistake that was presented today by, again, a lady that I consider a friend. Sometimes friend makes mistakes. And in this case, Marjorie has made a big mistake. I stand with Mike Johnson.
I don't know. He sounds like a rhino to me, Marjorie. I wouldn't listen to him if I were you. This isn't a mistake, and it's a good decision, and I say this with the utmost sincerity. I have no ulterior motives whatsoever. I think that what he's saying, Marjorie, should be disregarded. I mean, are you going to let your party be controlled by rhinos like Mike Johnson, who's clearly been co-opted by Democratic Party elites? Of course
True.
not. So don't listen to him. On a serious note, to be clear, I don't think that Marjorie is actually doing this for principled reasons. I mean, sure, she's unreasonable and probably angry that Johnson is choosing to negotiate with Democrats, but another Republican gave us...
Because he has no choice. Like, that's what I don't understand. There's no logic behind this. I'm still waiting for them to turn on her like Gates and claim that hoodie woman with the pipe bombs was Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Some insight into her motivations here, and this is so unsurprising, but let's hear him out.
You know, Rob, let me just talk back to this vacate measure. This was an asinine thing pushed forth by Matt Gaetz because he had a rift with McCarthy. And then he did also, just sadly enough, what I just got a text not 30 minutes ago from Marjorie saying, "I'm wanting to raise money on this." Matt Gaetz raised money the whole week or the whole time he was creating chaos. This is not what it's supposed to be. This is not what adults in the room do.
Marjorie doing something for attention and to fundraise? I don't know. I just would have never expected that from her. She really seems like a mature and selfless individual. So this feels like a smear. Marjorie, you should probably show him who's boss and make that motion to vacate privileged. Do it. Don't let him smear you like that. But listen, we haven't even scratched the surface because Fox News basically ripped her new asshole. And she wasn't named in these videos we're about to watch, but they spoke about...
I'm not feeling the sincerity. Welcome, Elron. You got to sell it more, right?
Her indirectly as part of a bigger problem that the GOP has. And just listen to what they're saying.
What person who could actually pass a psychiatric competency test would want to lead a group that includes Matt Gaetz and Bob Good and some of the other people that you just showed? I mean, Mike Johnson's as good as a gun. You had a speaker. Remember, you had Kevin McCarthy, and you wanted to get rid of him, and Jimmy Jordan wasn't good enough, and Tom Emmer wasn't good enough, and Steve Scalise. So, no, you got Mike Johnson.
The House Republican majority is a dysfunctional embarrassment. I mean... Speaker Johnson didn't ask for...
we'll work on it, okay?
This job. He stepped up when the House couldn't elect a replacement for Kevin McCarthy. He's trying to manage an unmanageable conference. Republicans need to understand that they control one half of one branch of government, and now they're going to control it by one vote. You can't impose your will on the entire government when you have one half of one branch of government with one vote. The way, if you want, I want to cut spending too. I want to do all these things. If you want to do that, there's a simple way to do it: win elections. Don't nominate lunatics. Get people who can actually win a general election, not just a Republican primary. Take back the Senate. Take back the White House. That's how Biden got the spending through.
I have never witnessed...
They're Republicans, so they can all kick rocks, exactly. Adults, yeah, looking all the gushing over Trump and adult is what springs to mind. These Republicans will eat each other's faces in an instant, and bless them for it, okay? Bless them. Bless them for it.
What I'm witnessing now. A party with a narrow majority in the House of Representatives, everything on the line in the country, but committing a slow suicide, the party. This is why conservatives call the GOP the stupid party, by the way.
Oh, they're not the only ones calling the Republican Party the stupid party, Laura, but do continue.
Remember the big push last year by Matt Gaetz to oust Kevin McCarthy? Now, I pushed...
I remember that. They should do that again.
Him on what that would actually accomplish.
This is about the job. This is about keeping our commitment to have single subject spending bills and an actual budget for the first time.
Congressman, the fact of the matter is, y'all don't have the votes. Get you closer.
I categorically reject that we don't have the votes for a budget.
Hold on a second.
I'm kind of mad that Matt Gaetz has the exact same microphone that I do. Not this one. I have the microphone that Matt Gaetz is currently using. I have it in a microphone case. Republicans are not sending their best. They're sending pipe bombers, hypocrites, and some, I assume, are good people. Well, not the very same mic, so I think you're safe. True. The SM7B? No, the SM7B, no, Matt Gaetz is using the MV7. Matt Gaetz is using the MV7. This one looks like an SM7B, but it's not. This is a PreSonus. It looks similar. Yeah, well, this one looks like it because I actually took the foam from an SM7B and put it on this one. So yeah. Yeah, an MV7. That's what Matt Gaetz is using. And I actually have that one in the bag over there. Finally off from work. Welcome, Conscious Canuck. Blue Yetis are not actually a bad mic. They're not. I think if you set them up right. The thing is, like, I think the problem with like Blue Yetis is that they're condenser mics, and a lot of these condenser mics are very sensitive. So like when you record stuff on Blue Yeti, on a Blue Yeti, that's fine. When you have like a controlled environment to record stuff, that's fine. But like when you're streaming and you might get like background stuff, like, you know, fans or whatever and all this other stuff, it kind of gets in the way and it doesn't allow the Blue Yeti to shine as much as it could. But mics like these, and incidentally, mics like the Shure mic over there, and I mean the top quality is of course, you know, one of the staples. Not like the best of the best, but like one of the staples is like the Shure SM7B for sure. But yeah, they're and you know this is a copy. This is the PreSonus version of a USB version of an SM7B. So Blue Yeti, no dynamic noise reduction. Right. They don't really. It's because it's a recording mic. You know, there's nothing wrong with the Blue Yeti. It's a recording mic. It's a studio. It's a more studio-ish mic that I would use to, like, let's say, you know, maybe record probably an acoustic guitar or something in a controlled environment. If you're a shouty streamer, you need to cut extraneous noise. A dynamic way is to go. Yeah, dynamic. This mic is a dynamic mic. Any dynamic mic is probably going to serve a better purpose for streaming, or podcasting, where you have like ambient noise or whatever. Yeah, good to know. Yep. Yeah, good to know, especially if you're a streamer. Heat. It's a good little, you know, tidbit. Most famous Blue Yeti was a scam artist Brett Keane, who toothlessly spoke into the wrong part of the mic, laying on his belly like a manatee. Like to make condenser mics more I guess usable for streaming. I used to have a lot of filters. I used a lot of filters that come on OBS, like by default. But that also kind of takes processing power. This is all done through the software that the PreSonus comes with. So there's literally nothing being done on OBS. Everything is controlled by the app. So I don't have to do anything. I got a few Macs. I default to the Marantz MPU. 2000's a plug and play, just works, and it really clear voiceover comms apparently, and it's cheap. Yep, there you go. This one's pretty good too for what I needed. Yeah, this serves a phenomenal job, and I think that it really shines. You know, with the software. With the software, it just works. It just works, and I don't have to mess with OBS, with filters. I don't have to mess anything, at all. Actually, the funniest mic is a boom, as it usually cameos in bad movies. Well, no, I don't. Boom mics can actually be pretty good, but you have to get like higher end ones. I'm good. Movie night on Saturday, that's right. Saturday, join the Discord. Blue Yeti. Look, I got no hate on the Blue Yeti, okay? I got no hate on the Blue Yeti. Those grips be slacking. Welcome, Zeoduke. What do you mean? Anyways.
Okay. Of course, it turns out. Sorry, I was right. He was wrong. The new speaker, Mike Johnson, just signed on to a $1.2 trillion spending bill that essentially gives Joe Biden everything he needs. The fact is, as I tried to tell Matt Gaetz, there just aren't enough serious Republicans in Congress now who really want to cut spending. But let's look at the bright side. Come on, it's Friday for Republicans. Soon there's going to be no need to worry about motions to vacate the speaker's chair because they won't have a chair to vacate.
You have to decide. Sooner or later, you're going to
True. Oh, like the boom mic operators or whatever you call them. Yeah. No budget productions. Be talking let their shit into the shot. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, cut spending. You can use a boom mic if you want to for streaming. If you want a film recommendation, A Bullet for a General is the most left-wing spaghetti western movie and is generally good, especially a very good ending with a lesson on greed. Interesting. I can think about that. I might have to watch a trailer for the next time. This week we're watching Dune. Exactly.
The bills have been worse since McCarthy was gone. The Democrats are in greater control. The hardliners on the right have done nothing except make it worse. The Freedom Caucus right now has been a disaster in public policy terms.
True.
If you think your job in life is to grandstand and complain while the other team runs over you, they're doing a great job.
I mean,
damn. Listen, I never thought that I'd say this, but Laura Ingraham is right.
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome, Laura. Now, aside from...
Oh, man, what a happy coincidence there. The spice must flow. Exactly. Dune. Cut spending translation equals giving another $2 trillion for the wealthy. Yep. That reminds me of a great quote I saw this week. All the space going billionaires, they don't want Star Trek, they want Dune. Yep. I think I saw that on Twitter, actually. I think I saw that on Twitter. You're welcome. That's right. This month's movie suggestion came from Michael Hassler. Oh, this is like an old school Western. When was this made? Oh, this is from like 1967? Wow.
From her frustration with disillusion over the House Speaker, she didn't mention Marjorie by name, and she also talked about how the vote to expel George Santos and Mike Gallagher's retirement is part of the dysfunction that she's speaking about. But I mean, if she was against the bid to oust McCarthy, then she's going to be even more mad if Marjorie Greene actually follows through with this threat to vacate Mike Johnson. Now, even though this is clearly a coordinated effort by Fox News to get her to rethink her decision, I think that this could have the opposite effect. Marjorie isn't known for being introspective or self-aware. She is a carnival barker who doubles down and never admits that she's wrong. And I think that that's why they were talking around her, using kid gloves, not specifically mentioning her by name, because they know that if they piss her off, I mean, that could put her over the edge, as I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to end with a message specifically to Marjorie Taylor.
Mouselander, welcome. Spaghetti Westerns are mostly in the 60s. Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. This one was in 67. Unfortunately, my knowledge on Westerns, or movies for that matter, is very limited. But yes, it's true. Not completely the last Django movie from the original director was in 87, Django Strikes Again.
Green, and this is just for her, so if you're not Marjorie, please feel free to exit the video. Marjorie, let's give him a couple of moments, okay? All right. So I'm assuming that it's just Marjorie Taylor Greene who's here. And this message is for you, Marjorie. Bestie, do it. As a longtime fan of yours, I think that ousting Mike Johnson is God's will. Listen,
God's will. Italian director, filmed in Spain, scored by Ennio Morricone. Oh, is that why they're called a spaghetti western? Huh. The more you know. Huh. Thank you. My favorite is the subgroup in spaghetti westerns, the acid westerns like El Topo and Captain Apache. My dad made me watch Clint Eastwood. I'm sorry.
You need to listen to your heart.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And Jesus put this thought into your head. He told you to file that motion to vacate. And in this life, we follow Christ, not rhino Republicans doing the bidding of these Satan-worshipping Democrats.
True.
So trust your gut, and more importantly, listen to God, because he's in your heart. He told you to file this motion to vacate. So you do it, Queen. You bring that motion to vacate to a vote, because there's absolutely no way this could backfire. I promise you. Ignore the naysayers. Follow your heart, Marjorie. File the motion. Get rid of Mike Johnson. He's a rhino. It's what Jesus would want.
True.
Like everywhere there's...
I liked a lot of Clint Eastwood films. Didn't know how bad his politics were until much later. Yeah, listen to the voices in your head. A Bullet for a General is free on F-Share TV. He gave away the game when he yelled at a chair at the RNC. Incidentally, the RNC is now in the process of being Trumpified. So that's nice. Go, Queen, go! All right, we gotta speed run through some of these. All right, this. Listen, the memes are gonna continue. Okay, did you hear Trump is a Bible salesman now? Yeah, we're about to. we're getting there. Oh man. The memes continue, folks. Cash-strapped Trump, or another way of putting it, dude's broke. A purported billionaire oligarch that's supposed to be incredibly wealthy is now selling $60 Bibles with the U.S. Constitution. 2 Corinthians walked into the bar. Can we all say loser? You made that comment at the perfect time, because you made that comment at the perfect time. Former President Trump is bringing together church and state in a gilded package for his last grift. A $60 God bless the USA Bible, complete with copies of the nation's founding documents. Phenomenal stuff. I'm expecting Trump's VP pick to be Tammy Faye Baker, a person with even more ridiculous hair than himself. Trump announced the launch on the leather-bound large print King James Bible in a post on Truth Social on yesterday, a day after the social media company's surge in trading debut, and 2 days after New York Appeals Court extended its bond deadline to comply with the ruling in the civil fraud case, and slashed the bond amount by 61%. Quote, Happy Holy Week, let's make America pray again. Oh, man. He said, as we lead into Good Friday and Easter, encourage you to... Freaking believable. As we lead into Good Friday and Easter, I encourage you to get a copy of God Bless the USA Bible from your favorite president, me. It's not a King James Bible. It's not even the actual King James version. You should buy one, then after he dies, make money off it. I'm pretty sure some schmuck, some MAGA schmuck would buy the Trump Bible for like $200. For like $200 if he when he kicks the bucket, right? That sounds like a sound investment for $60, and then turn it around and sell it to some MAGA schmuck for like $200. It's the most widely circulated book in America. I'm sure people still need a copy somewhere. Yeah, but it's his copy, right? It's his God Bless the USA version. Oh my God. The Bible is inspired by God Bless USA, the patriotic Lee Greenwood anthem that has been a fixture at many Trump rallies and has a long political history dating back to Ronald Reagan. It is the only Bible endorsed by Trump as well as Greenwood, according to its promotional website. It's an 80-page large print compilation of excerpts from the King James Bible. It's not even the full Bible. It's just excerpts. Oh my God. Trump has to sell 50 million? Nah. Yeah, we're living in a capitalist society. You gotta do what you gotta do. Just the parts he likes. The Book of Dave. If Trump wrote a Bible, it would be like the American version of the Book of Dave. It's a pamphlet. I heard about this elsewhere earlier and I was pissing myself laughing. Oh my God. No way. It's not even the full Bible with the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. Yep. Yeah, that part I saw. I just didn't know it was only excerpts of the Bible. That's wild. Yeah, it's the NFL. It's the NFL red zone of the Bible. The Bible is only available online and sells for $59.99, considerably more expensive than traditional Bibles sold at major retailers or those available for free at many churches and hotels. It includes Greenwood's handwritten chorus of the titular song, as well as copies of historical documents, including the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance. Excuse me. Give it a few weeks, he'll be trying to sue anyone else selling other versions. Many of you who have never read them and don't know the liberties and rights you have as Americans and how you're being threatened to lose those rights. He said in a 3-minute video advertising. Ooh. Religion and Christianity are the biggest things missing from the country. No, they're not. And I truly believe that we need to bring them back and have to bring them back fast. Fast. Trump critics on both sides of the aisle quickly criticize the product, characterizing it as a self-serving and hypocritical. Conservative political commentator Charlie Sykes slammed him for commodifying the Bible during Holy Week. I mean, really? What else did you expect someone like him to do? His entire life is an ongoing cycle of duping people to get himself out of prior dupings and legal shit that got him into financial trouble again. Seriously, it's like a freaking movie, man. It's like a freaking movie. It's unbelievable. His timing is always superbly comical. Trump steaks. That's right. Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota critiqued him for literally taking a holy book and selling it and putting it out there in order to make money for his campaign and, legal fees. If you pour Trump water on the Trump Bible, does it burst into flames? I don't know, but we should try that. Maybe he should try NFTs. He did. He sold Trump NFTs effectively. They weren't billed as NFTs, but they were basically NFTs. They were like digital cards he sold for like $100. Yeah. That's a nice meme. You love to see it. MyPillow owned by election denier Mike Lindell, formerly evicted from the Minnesota warehouse. He has to be holding some kind of world record right now by being for being the most in litigation and bankruptcy. Yep.
When it comes to great steaks, I've just raised the stakes. The Sharper Image is one of my favorite stores with fantastic products of all kinds. That's why I'm thrilled they agree with me. Trump steaks are the world's greatest steaks, and I mean that in every sense of the word. And the Sharper Image is the only store where you can buy them. Trump steaks are by far the best tasting, most flavorful beef you've ever had. Truly in a league of their own. Trump steaks are 5-star gourmet, quality that belong in a very, very select category of restaurant, and are certified Angus Beef Prime. There's nothing better than that. All of the beef produced in America, less than 1% qualified.
They're goats. Yeah, the Sharper Image selling steaks. Imagine going to a meme tech store to get steaks. It doesn't exist like the shoes. You send $60 and you get nothing. Oh man, I heard about that. That it's possible that these shoes aren't even being sent. So the guy who uses well done steaks with ketchup.
For that category. It's the best of the best. Until now, you could only enjoy steaks of this quality in one of my resort restaurants or America's finest steakhouses. But now that's changed. Today, through the Sharper Image,
these
you
are
can
fainting
enjoy
goats,
the world's
by the way.
greatest steaks in your own home with family, friends, anytime.
Oh, I get it. This is a meme.
Trump steaks are aged to perfection to provide the ultimate in tenderness and flavor. If you like your steak, you'll absolutely love Trump steaks. Treat yourself to the very, very best life has to offer. And as a gift...
They're quick. Yeah, it took me a second. I'm like, why are all these goats in the middle of this advertisement? Jesus.
Trump steaks are the best you can give. One bite and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And believe me, I understand steaks. It's my favorite food. And these are the best.
That's too funny. I would not put it past Trump, though, to be fair. A Trump Bible sold only on Temu. Shop like a billionaire. Fainty goats are hilarious. They're adorable. Klobuchar criticized him for literally taking a holy book and selling it and putting it out there to make money for his campaign and, legal expenses. Trump says the money isn't going to his campaign, but more on that below. That's right. They're to cover his, they're to cover his his butt. Klobuchar added that Trump's public attacks on others are not consistent with the teachings of the Bible, calling this one one more moment of hypocrisy. terrorists at Mayor, a senior advisor for anti-Trump Republican PAC, the Lincoln Project, called it blasphemous. Former Representative Liz Cheney, a Republican from Wyoming, trolled Trump with a social media post alluding to his alleged extramarital affairs. Happy Holy Week, Donald. Instead of selling Bibles, you should buy one and read it, including Exodus 20:14. Trump has made a point in cultivating a Christian supporters since 2016 and remains popular with the white evangelicals despite his multiple divorces, insults towards marginalized groups, and allegations of extramarital affairs and sexual assault. Well, I mean, we gotta know what happened, right? His narrative of being persecuted, including in the courts, appears to resonate with many Christian supporters. Trump has increasingly embraced Christian nationalist ideas in public. He promised a convention of religious broadcasters last month that he would use a second term to defend Christian values from the radical left, swearing that no one will touch the cross of Christ under the Trump administration, ? He made similar comments in the Bible promotional video, which he warned that Christians are under siege and the country is going haywire because it's lost religion. No. The Trump game is a funnier one, as it was in 1989 when his businesses were going bankrupt. Really? I didn't even know about this one.
Everything's set for tonight, Mr. Trump.
I wonder what Trump's game is this time.
Trump's got a new game. Trump's got a new deal.
What's your game, Donald?
Heard about Trump's new deal? What?
Trump has a new game. What is it?
Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump, please.
My new game is Trump, the game.
Trump, the game where you deal for everything you've ever wanted to own. Because it's not whether you win or lose.
This has to be a meme. Is this an actual game? This has to be a joke.
It's whether you win.
Yes!
Play Trump, the game from Milton Bradley.
I think you'll like it.
No way. Nope, it was a thing, an actual game. Wow. Pretty high budget and got a clip from Trump. It didn't sell. Yeah, I wonder why. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. Then wait, what? He's doing more and more Hitler rhetoric by the day. Yep. True. We must defend God in the public square and not allow the media or the left-wing groups to silence, censor, or discriminate against us. We have to bring Christianity back into our lives and back into what will be, again, a great nation. Yeah, red flag. Trump himself is not known to be particularly religious because he's not, or a regular churchgoer because he's not. He's long identified as a Presbyterian, but announced in 2020 that he identified as non-denominational. A Pew Research Center survey released earlier this month found that most people with positive views of Trump don't see him as especially religious, but thinks he stands up for people with religious beliefs like their own. Trump said in the promotional video that he has many Bibles at home. Quote, "It's my favorite book. It's a lot of people's favorite books." Oh my God. Trump's relationship to the Bible has been a point of discussion because it doesn't exist. In 2020, amid protests over George Floyd's murder, he posed with the Bible outside of Washington, for which he was widely criticized. U.S. Park and Police and National Guard troops had tear gas peaceful protesters in the area beforehand, seemingly to make way for the photo op, though a Watchdog report the following year determined otherwise. That same clip, a 2015 Bloomberg interview in which Trump declined to name his favorite any Bible verse, has surfaced on social media, which, yeah. The FAQ section of the Bible website say no profits will go to Trump's re-election campaign because it's not. GodBlessTheBibleUSA.com is not political and has nothing to do with my political campaign. However, the site adds that it uses Trump's name, likeness, and image under a paid license from CIC Ventures. Trump is listed as the manager, president, and secretary-treasurer of the CIC Ventures, so it's him. According to his first wife, the only book Trump owns is a translation of Hitler's speeches. Trump's sales pitch focused on bringing religion back to America. "I want to have a lot of people have it," he said on the point of the video. "You have to have it for your heart and for your soul and for my pocketbook." Especially for my pocketbook. Actually, even funnier when I got WWE 2K24 with the 40-year WrestleMania and the video cuts And the matches blurs Trump front row face out of the Hogan versus Savage match. Really? Only 800,000 copies. Yup, it's a real thing. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Many are wondering whether Trump has something else to gain from the Bible sales while facing under mounting financial pressure. I'm wondering. I'm wondering. Yeah. Good thing the Bible is not free online. Or you can literally like go anywhere, like at any church. I'm sure they'll give you a Bible. There's this presidential re-election campaign which has raised only about half of what Biden's has so far this cycle. Trump acknowledged on Monday that he might have to spend his own money on his campaign, something he hasn't done since 2016. There's also the mounting legal expenses as he faces 4 criminal indictments and numerous civil cases. Trump posted a bond to support a $83 million jury award granted to writer E. Jean Carroll in a defamation case earlier this month, and was due to put up another $454 million in a civil fraud, which was reduced to $170 million or something like that. His lawyer said last week that they had approached 30 companies for helping to make the bond, but so far is a practical impossibility, prompting New York's Attorney General to confirm that if Trump did not pay, he would have to move to seize his assets. On Monday, the appeal court reduced the bond amount to $175 million and gave Trump another 10 days to post it. Trump has evidently tried to raise money in other ways. The day after the civil fraud judgment was announced, he debuted a line of 399 golden high-top sneakers, which sold out in hours. The company behind the social media app, Truth Social, started trading on the NASDAQ exchange on Tuesday, which could deliver him a windfall of more than $3 billion, though he can't sell his shares for another 6 months. You actually want to laugh that Trump is such a bad businessman. He actually destroyed an entire football league. I think I remember that. He bankrupted a casino. So I think like that's that's all you need to know about how effective he is as a business person. My dude bankrupted a casino. If there's no info if they were even if they were made yet, I heard the shoes. Yeah, I don't know. And just with anything with this guy, it's like I expect it to be a freaking grift, a complete con. So that's a nice meme. All right, we need to book it. This one's too funny. I think we're gonna have to talk about this tomorrow. I think we might have to talk about this tomorrow. The owner of MyPillow was evicted from the warehouse. Lindell denied any interview to the AP that the eviction was another sign of his money woes. Yeah. Okay. He said his financial picture is actually improving after a credit crunch last year. Disrupted cash flow at MyPillow after the company lost one of its major advertising platform and was dropped by several national retailers. We're fine. We're fine, he says. Lindell faced setback last month when a judge affirmed a $5 million arbitration award in favor of the software engineer who challenged the data that Lindell says proves China interfered with the election, which obviously never happened, and tipped the outcome to Joe Biden. Lindell acknowledged in January that Fox News stopped running MyPillow commercials amid a billing dispute. Lindell confirmed Wednesday that MyPillow owes about $217,000 to Delaware-based First Industries LP for rent. He said MyPillow no longer needed the space and removed its remaining property from the warehouse last June before subleasing the space to another company. You love to see it, folks. Well, we'll go over more of this tomorrow. I won't be on tomorrow. No problem. We did the Cliff Notes. We did the Cliff Notes. This is funny. Yeah, pillows for everybody. That's too funny. Let's see. I think this one, let me see. I think this is probably worth talking about. So I'm gonna go over this one quickly. I'll just watch the YouTube. That's right. Thank you. Have you seen his media channel? It's like something from Eastern Europe. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Conditions at the RNC could be better. The AP reported, for example, that just 6 months before the first early votes cast in the general election, the Trump Republican Party has little general election infrastructure to speak of. Jesus. To make matters worse, the RNC has partnered with Donald Trump's campaign for a joint fundraising operation, but as part of the agreement, donations would go towards the former president's legal bills before the funds reach the party. Jesus Christ. It's against this backdrop that the RNC and its newly installed leadership team is apparently conducting interviews with prospective staffers. And as the Washington Post reported, applicants are apparently confronting an unfortunate line of inquiry. Those seeking employment at the RNC after a Trump-backed purge of the committee this month have been asked in job interviews if they believe that the 2020 election was stolen, according to people who's familiar with the interviews. According to making the false claim a litmus test of sorts for hiring. That's pretty disturbing. That, you know, basically across the board, from top to bottom, the Republican Party is just the party of Trump. And it's not, it's not just like the party of Trump, but everything that comes with it, including the continued attack on elections, which is only going to make things worse. The flip side is that it's going to make this party, even, believe it or if you can believe it, even more unhinged and more incapable of operating, which is to the benefit of everybody. But nonetheless, it just makes these people that much more dangerous. So, yeah, that's nice. As it turns out, the newly minted RNC co-chair Lara Trump spoke with NBC News yesterday. Said her party is no longer interested in litigating her father-in-law's defeat. I think we're past that. I think that's in the past. The past is the past. Except, evidently, the past is also the present and in the new future. As the Post report summarized, the prospective RNC hires have said agreeing with Trump's false election claim appears to be a new litmus test. Or put another way, if the reporting is accurate, the RNC needs employees and only election deniers and the big lie proponents need apply. Yeah, then yet the Democrats want a strong Republican Party. Yeah, is that what Nancy Pelosi meant when she said we need a strong Republican Party? eBay must be flooded with cheap pillows. This is much like the skeptic community once all the talent people left in 2014, a collection of clowns who mostly became alt-right, was left as crazy people aren't talented people. When CNN asked about this, RNC spokeswoman Danielle Alvarez said the candidates who worked in the front line in battleground states or are currently in states where fraud allegations have been prevalent were asked about their work experience. We want experienced staff with meaningful views on how elections are won and lost and real experience based opinions on what happens in the trenches. Yeah, okay. That wasn't exactly a denial. By all appearances, what the RNC needs is competent and qualified staffers. Limiting the employment search to conspiracy theories and those easily fooled by absurdities doesn't do the party any favors, which honestly, excellent. Do it. Okay? Like, on one hand, I understand, like, this is, like, dangerous, but if the party is not able to function, the party barely has, like, election infrastructure, general election infrastructure. If they can't function, then this is good for everybody, for everybody involved. So that's good. It's like what happened to UK Conservative Party, as currently there's lacks of talent, so it's so stark there may be 4 leadership challenge in 4 years of government. Democrat wins election in conservative Alabama after focus on abortion and IVF. An Alabama Democrat who campaigned against the state's near-total abortion ban has won a special election to the state legislature, a stark signal that reproductive rights is a potent issue for Democratic candidates even in the Deep South. Maryland Lands won the state house seat on Tuesday, defeating Teddy Powell, a Republican, 63-37. Lands, a licensed professional counselor, previously ran for the seat in 2022 and lost by 7% to David Cole, a Republican who resigned last year after pleading guilty to voter fraud. Lands made Alabama's abortion ban and access to contraception and in vitro fertilization central to her campaign, speaking openly about her own previous abortion experience in a TV ad that featured her saying that it was shameful today that women have fewer freedoms than I had 2 decades ago. True. Land said that her win sent a clear message in the wake of Alabama's near-total abortion ban, which came into effect after the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade. In February, there was also a highly controversial state Supreme Court decision that threatened the use of IVF. This is a giant step forward for Alabama, a victory tonight for women, families, and Alabama in general, she said. It feels like it's the start of a change here, she added. She added of the state's politics. I think we're ready for something different. I think we're tired of Alabama being 49th and 50th in all key metrics. We can do better, and we are better, and I want to make that happen. Lance said she would work to overturn Alabama's abortion law, one of the most stringent in the U.S., which outlaws abortion at any stage of the pregnancy with no exceptions for rape or incest. It is only permitted in situations where the life of the pregnant person is in danger, which we all know. Yeah. Today, Alabama women and families sent a clear message that will be heard in Montgomery and across the nation. Our legislature must appeal Alabama's no-exception abortion ban, fully restore access to IVF, and protect the right to contraception. The special election does little to tip the balance of power in conservative Alabama, with Republicans holding a commanding 75-27 advantage over Democrats. However, Democrats have hailed the victory as a further sign that restricting access to abortion has proved electorally damaging to Republicans, particularly in the sort of seat contested by Lands. The Democrat won in the state's 10th district with comprises parts of Huntsville and Madison, a relatively affluent and educated area of northern Alabama, and only narrowly carried by Trump in 2020. The special election is a harbinger of things to come. Republicans across the country have been put on notice that there are consequences to attack on IVF. From bluest blue states to the reddest of red, voters are choosing to fight for fundamental freedoms by electing Democrats across the country, said Heather Williams, president of the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee. That's pretty much what Republicans get. They deserve to lose. All right, folks, I got a skedaddle. Folks, if you enjoy the content, thank you. First and foremost, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate all of you coming by. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Thank you, guys. We are here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So spread the word. Bring a friend. Like the stream if you're on YouTube. Follow on here on Twitch. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really does help us out. If you want to support the channel, there are many different ways. If you want to support the channel while wearing some cool stuff, you can hit / merch. Don't forget, join the Discord movie night this Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be making a announcement on the Discord server just so that people are reminded. So there's that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hesser, for modding the chat. One last thing here. Really, the stupidity of making abortion the only reason to vote for Republicans is why I'm thinking not only a blue wave, but I'm surging of independence. As crazy people who are like cultists with no sensible policies will be gone, as the GOP seems to have forgotten in the marketplace of ideas. You need to have a reason you want power. Maybe, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to see, right? And not to say that abortion isn't a strong issue. It is. But yeah. I like having power over all these people. There you go. Folks, I got to get out of here. Thank you guys so much. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Aviana, hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya! Hang tight, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.